Let's take a quick trip through the budget development process. Each year, as we get ready to write the budget, we look to the community for input. We spend more than $250 million annually on services like public safety, roads, social services, libraries, and more. As the needs of our community change from year to year, we want to hear from you how we can best meet those needs. So, how do we come up with a budget? Deciding how to spend these funds requires some big picture thinking. Fortunately, your Board of Supervisors annually revisits what we call the strategic framework. This framework serves as a way to guide our decisions so they support the overall vision for Humboldt County. That vision includes promoting a safe, healthy, economically vibrant community. Our annual budget is for a fiscal year, July 1st through June 30th. It contains our best guess as to how much money we expect to receive and how much we expect to spend. By law, we must adopt a balanced budget, which means we can't plan on spending more than we receive. July through December. Since these are projections, our budget must be constantly monitored. So, once the budget is adopted in June, we watch the numbers and usually go to the board in October to present a quarterly report and finalize the numbers from the previous fiscal year. This report tells us how our projections are looking and what is causing any discrepancies. The board can take this opportunity to make adjustments to the budget at this early point. These quarterly reports are particularly good times to share your opinion. January through February. We do the same thing around the end of January with the mid-year report. This report is important because we use this data to start planning for the following year. We also establish parameters for the upcoming budget and hold community meetings. Let's take a break and talk about some of the budget's major pieces. The county's budget is made up of several funds. You can think of a fund as sort of a checking account. We establish funds to track where money comes from and where it goes. This is important because most of the money we receive is designated for certain purposes. Only about 20% is discretionary. So, where does this money come from? The county receives revenue from the following sources: taxes, licenses and permits, fines, forfeitures and penalties, use of money and property, other governmental agencies, charges for services, and other revenues. You are probably familiar with sales and property taxes, but did you know that most of our funding comes from other government agencies? This money usually comes in the form of grants or a share of tax and must be spent a certain way. Discretionary revenue, on the other hand, is an income that is not directly related to any particular county activity or function and can be spent on local needs. Discretionary revenue goes to the general fund, and the board determines where to allocate it. A significant portion of this money goes to public safety. Taxes are the largest source of discretionary revenue. In particular, property taxes generate the most tax revenue. Have you ever wondered where your property tax dollars go? For every $100 collected, more than $60 goes to schools. Roughly $15 goes to the county general fund, and the rest is divided between special districts, the debt of former redevelopment agencies, cities, county roads, and the library. Let's finish up our timeline. March. Shortly after the mid-year report, the board reviews the strategic framework and makes changes to better address our local needs. Then, County Administrative Office takes that framework and applies it, providing departments with instructions for their budget requests. April through May. Between April and May, departments have crunched their numbers, looked at things like policy changes, rate changes, health insurance, and changing local needs. And they have a good idea of how much money they expect to have come in and go out. During this time, the board receives a third quarter report. This is also a time when departments request discretionary funds, making their case for these funds during open meetings. June. In June, the board is presented with a recommended budget. The board holds public hearings, makes final changes, and by the end of the month adopts the budget for the next fiscal year. So that's it, in a nutshell. Remember, your input on these decisions is welcome anytime. You can tell us what you think at board meetings. They are held every Tuesday at 9 a.m. in the supervisor's chambers, or attend the community budget meetings. Stay up on county news by visiting humboldtgov.org and subscribing to our newsletter. You can also weigh in online via our open Humboldt discussion forum. Lastly, go to our website and explore our online budget tool, Open Budget.